Today we want to make some plastic yarn so we can weave a little treat jar that we can give to encourage others. So we've got our scissors, we've got our plastic bags we're going to use to make our plastic yarn, we've got some treats to put in our treat jar, and we've got our plastic water bottle. Now the plastic water bottle and the plastic bags are things that we already had that have been used, and so we are going to reuse them and make something kind of cool. All right, so first we've got our water bottle, and we need to take that water bottle and we're going to remove the label and we're going to make it a little bit smaller. So first we're going to remove the label, and then we're going to go, you can decide how big you want to make your jar. I think we'll do ours maybe right about here. We're going to cut the bottle. There we go. Half or a little smaller. All right, so now we have this piece of our plastic bottle, and we're going to put this to the side because we don't need that one right now. All right, then you're going to go around the edges and we're going to cut from the top all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to stop right there when we get to the bottom. And then I'm going to go over maybe just a little bit, and I'm going to make another cut. So that's 2. Now we want to keep making cuts like that about the same distance apart, but we make sure we do an odd number of cuts. So we do 1, 2, that's an even number. 3, that's an odd number, but we still have a bit more to go here. So now we'll do 4, that's an even number. So I think we can make 1 more cut. That will give us our odd number and be pretty even all the way around. Alright, so I've made 5 cuts, and as you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs. Alright, so now I'm going to set this to the side because now the base for my treat jar is ready to go. So now I need to get my yarn ready. So to make your plastic yarn, you're going to take a plastic grocery bag, and it's kind of fun if you can find lots of different colors. I have black and white here today, and I'm going to spread my plastic bag out, and I'm going to take my scissors, and this bottom part where it's sealed, I'm just going to cut that off first, and I'll put that to the side. And then my handles, I don't want those either, so I'm going to cut the top off here just so I cut my handles off. And again, you can see you don't have to be super exact. Just get those handles off and put those to the side. Now, I've got my plastic bag, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half the long way, and I'm going to fold it in half the long way again, and 1 or 2 more times, depending on how big your bag is. Okay? So now you can see I've got it all folded up like a fan, right? Now I'm going to cut little strips. It just makes it, when I fold it like this, it just makes it easier to cut. So I'm going to cut, and I'm going to try and make them pretty even. Just cut little sections off here. And these are going to become my pieces. We call it plarn because it's a combination of the words plastic and yarn. So we're making plarn, or plastic yarn. And these, once I have them all cut, are going to make, there we go, little loops. Okay. Now you can tie them together by making a knot, or you can use this cool little trick. Okay, so here's a trick to combine our loops. I have my loop here. I'm going to take the second loop. I'm going to go over the top. I'm going to go inside. And then I'm going to take this one that went inside and I'm going to pull. Okay, let's watch it again. Okay, here's my loop in my left hand. And in my right hand, I'm going to take another loop. I'm going to go underneath the loop in my left hand. I'm going to fold it in half and tuck it inside And then the part that I put inside, I'm going to pull it towards the right. And I get my knot. Let's try it again. So I have my loop in my left hand. I open up another loop. I bring it underneath the loop in my left hand. I take the right side. I put it through this hole. I take that piece that I just put through the hole and I pull it in the opposite direction and I get a knot. All right, let's see that again. Here's my loop in my left hand. I open up another loop. I stick the whole thing underneath my first loop, fold it in half and go through. Then I take the part that went through and I pull it to the right. And you're just going to keep doing that until you, I would say probably, I would start with 3 or 4 bags. And then, again, we're going to go under. We're going to go through. We're going to take the piece that went through and pull it to the right. And we're going to keep doing that until we have a good bit of yarn. As we said, you can use all one color or you can use 2 different colors. I'm going to add white now to my black yarn. I'm going to cut off the very bottom part of my bag. And I'm going to cut off my handles. I missed that handle. There we go. Cut off my handles. Put it to the side. Now I'm going to stretch out my bag and lay it flat. I'm going to fold it in half and lay it flat. I'm going to fold it in half again, lay it flat, fold it in half again. This is a bigger bag, so I'm going to fold it one more time so that it's easier for me to cut. You see, now I'm just going to cut little strips, cut all the way through all the layers. And try and keep them the same size that I did my last ones. Just keep cutting. When you start your weaving, anytime if your yarn, your plastic yarn starts to get low, you can just fold another bag and make some more and tie it on just like we've been doing. And you can change colors as many times as you want to. Alright, so now I have some white pieces. I'm going to take my black strand I had before, and again I'm going to take the end of this loop here in my left hand. I'm going to open up one of my white strips. I'm going to put it underneath the black loop. I'm going to fold it in half and go through the middle, and then the piece that went through, I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull it to the right. I take my next one, I put it through underneath, then I go through the middle, I take the piece that went through and I pull it to the right. Now if you're having trouble doing that, or it's just not working for you, you can also just take the end of each one and you can tie it in a knot. That will work also. It's just a little easier and faster, and once you start weaving, it'll make it a little smoother to not have all of these little extra pieces sticking off. But you can do that if you want to. And then you can just trim those off later. But again, I like to just take my loop, open it up, take the next loop, go underneath, fold it in half, go through the middle, bring it out the other side, and pull to the right. Alright, so I'm going to finish my yarn here and roll it into a ball, and then we'll get started with the weaving. Now that I have all my yarn that I'm going to start with, I'm just going to kind of wrap it around my hands so that I can start making a ball. That'll just make it easier when I start weaving. Once I get around it a couple times, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to start going around the middle the other direction. And then I can just keep wrapping in different directions to kind of make a ball. It'll start to take shape, and then you just keep wrapping around and wrapping around until we have our plastic Plarn ball. I've got my Plarn all into a ball, and now I'm ready to take my container. Now I'm going to take the end of my Plarn, and I'm going to take one of my tabs. I'm going to kind of pull it out a little bit here, and I'm going to take my Plarn and I'm going to tie a knot around the bottom. So it might be easier to turn it upside down like this. So I turn it upside down and I tie it on. There we go. Make a little knot. And then I can turn, see how there's this little loop sticking out here? I did it on the outside so it was easier for me to tie it. But now that I've tied it, if I want to, I can turn that loop to the inside so it won't be sticking out so much. All right, now I've got that little tag on the inside. I've got my yarn, my Plarn, and you can see I have the loop on the tab I tied it on. Okay? That's on the outside. So now I'm going to go inside, that's behind this next tab, inside my bottle. Then tab number 3, I'm going to go in front of it. Okay, I'm just going to bring this across the front of it. Then tab number 4, I'm going to go behind it. And when I do that, I might need to push this back down a little bit. So I'm behind this one, so now I'm going to come in front of this next one. I'm going to flip it over now so you can kind of see here. Let's do it this way. So I'm going to go, now I'm going to go behind this one and in front of the next one. I go behind this one and in front of the next one. And I go behind this one and I go in front of the next one. I go behind and in front, behind and in front. Now you can see there's a gap here. So what you can do is, as you're working your way around, every now and then kind of push all the pieces down so that they go down to the bottom and they don't leave a gap. Okay. There we go. I'm going to push this down. All right, and then I'm going to keep going. Okay. So I'm going to go in front. Let me get a little more Plarn here. We go in front and behind. I'm going to go in front and behind. In front and behind. Then I'm going to take a minute to stop and push all my pieces down so you can see I'm starting to cover the bottom of my plastic bottle with my plastic yarn. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to keep going, and then when we get closer to the top, we'll come back and see what we do next. Alright, now that I'm near the top, you can see I've gotten to the place where my Plarn color changes. If you want to, you can mix up your bag colors more than I did so that you get different patterns and you can play with lots of different ways to do it. But as you can see, I'm almost at the very tip top of my jar. So I'm going to keep going around here a couple more times. I don't want to pull it too tight because you don't want it to close up the top. But I'm going to go around maybe 2 more times. You're going to have to kind of get in there and push it down. Alright. Once I get that last go around done, and I'm as far as I can go on the top, okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did at the bottom, and I'm going to tie it off. So let me push this down here. All right, so I'm going to cut, make sure I have a long enough piece that I can tie it. I'm going to cut that, and you can see it's already popping off the top here because I've gotten up as high as I can go. I'm going to go through here again and kind of push it down to, there we go. And then I'm going to, as I go around my last tab here, I'm going to go inside, if you can see here, I'm going to go inside where I have these loops, and I'm just going to go underneath that loop with the end of my plarn, pull it up, make sure, this is going to be a little tricky at first. Alright, there we go. Make sure it stays on my tab. Once I get it as tight as I want it, and I can tie it in a knot, again going through this loop at the back. Alright, I tie that, and now I can tuck it down inside. Again, make sure all my loops are on my tab here. It might get a little messy at the top while you're working on it, but just go back and push your plarn back down over your tabs, and then I can take this little string that's still remaining and push it down inside. So there, I've got my black and white colored woven treat jar that's made out of the recycled plastic bottle and some recycled plastic bags. And what I can do then is I can take some treats like these pencils and a little memory verse card with a cute little kitty on the front, and stick that in there, and I can even maybe stick in some little treats and put all those in my little treat jar, and now I can give it to someone to encourage them and to motivate them to do something in love for others as well. So this way we're recycling, we're keeping our earth clean, we are creating like our Creator God and making beautiful things, and we are using those things to encourage others and show Christ's love to others in our communities and in our homes. So make your treat jar and encourage someone today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hebrews 10:24, let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works.